Germany's best stadium. Quite a bold statement considering all the fantastic football stadiums we've explored in Deutschland so far. The biggest, of course, being the Westfalenstadion in Dortmund. There's also the home of the German giants in Munich. Or what about their beautiful and historic former ground, the Olympiastadion? Speaking of Olympic stadiums, what about the grand old Olympiastadion in Berlin? When it comes to labelling a football ground as the best, we all have our own ideas about what makes something the best. Of course, through my own biased eyes, the Ruhrstadion in Bochum is the best. I love it so much I have it tattooed on me. But apart from our home, the stadium we visited last weekend might have impressed me the most. Ladies and gents, in the last video we shared our experience as away fans at this beautiful stadium. But today we're going to take a closer look at the impressive Fritz Walter Stadion, as well as look at the crazy history of FC Kaiserslautern. So why has this stadium been called the Fritz Walter Stadion? Well, before legendary, no, godly German football icons like Franz Beckenbauer, there was Fritz Walter, the original German football icon who won the World Cup as captain in 1954, and of course spent his entire career playing for FC Kaiserslautern. The original one-club man. Move aside Thomas Müller and Gary Neville. Fritz Walter is both a Kaiserslautern and German god. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Football Paradise, where today the weather is anything but paradise weather. Cold, wet and windy, but as we look up the hill at this glorious stadium, I'm really excited for this new episode of Riot Explores, a series in which we not only check out the stadium, the history of the club, we sample the local food, taste test the local beer, we have a few pints, we get merry, it's all good. So why do some people still call the stadium the Betzenberg, or just simply the BETZE? Well, as we mentioned on the weekend as we were running up that hill, listening to a dodgy remix of the Kate Bush classic.
We're running up that road, we're running up that hill, we're running up that building.
So as we keep going on, the stadium is located at the top of the hill being known as Betzenberg Hill, hence the unofficial nickname, the Betzenberg, or as I said, the BETZE. Now, fun fact, population of Kaiserslautern, according to Wikipedia, is currently around 101,000. Now, the stadium has a current capacity of just under 50,000. I've got the official number here, 49,327. So, you could almost fit the half of the population of Kaiserslautern in the stadium. Pretty cool. Not only is the stadium massive, impressive, very grand, not only does it look cool, that's a pretty cool fact as well. A not so fun fact, and that's that around 85% of Kaiserslautern was completely destroyed by Allied troops during World War II. Now, another not so fun fact, only 25% of the current day, modern day buildings were around prior to 1945. The end of World War II, of course. Now, the record attendance for the BETZE was over 50,000. I haven't made a note of the exact number. It was set in 2006 for the home game versus Bayern, and at the time, the population of Kaiserslautern was under 100,000, so a pretty cool fact. At that time, you could have fit over half the population of Kaiserslautern in the stadium. Anyway, let's move away from awkward World War II facts. Let's get back to the BETZE. So every time we come to Germany on a match day or on a stadium tour, we always act surprised when we see training facilities right next to the stadium. Of course, if you're not from England or Britain, our training facilities are normally somewhere else in the town or in the city. In Germany, most stadiums have the training facilities right next door. Now, I don't know, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Lautern fans, do the first team train here? There's clearly pitches to train on. We're going to keep wandering around. Okay, judging by the fact that there's some stands, some seating areas, maybe this is where the first team train. Again, let us know in the comments below. There is a couple of players training. I'm not sure if they're going to be playing today, I doubt it. This was, of course, a host stadium for World Cup 2006. Sasha, where are we going?
We're going now, I hope, to the Kaiserslautern Museum.
Museum?
Yes.
Because they are the only German club to win the Bundesliga as a newly promoted club from the Zweite Liga.
Two-time champion. First in the second league and then after in the Bundesliga.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Oh fuck! They went on the homepage and it's open on the match list.
So as you can see, the museum is closed, so bear with me. I will guide us through the history of FC Kaiserslautern. Let's go. Yes guys, unfortunately the museum was not open on match day, but I guess that might have something to do with the fact that it's situated in the guest block, the away end. But do not fear, Raya's here with the history of this fantastic football club. Now, Sasha just mentioned they're 2 times champions, which is partly true. They've won the Bundesliga twice since it was formed in 1963, once in 1991, and of course that famous second time in 98 when they won it as a newly promoted club. However, they've also won it 2 more times in 51 and 53 before the Bundesliga began. As well as 4 German championships, they've won the DFB Pokal twice in 1990 and in 96. So the 90s really was a crazy decade for FC Kaiserslautern fans. They started the decade by winning the DFB Pokal in 1990. Of course, they won the Bundesliga in 91, but by the mid-90s, by 96, they were relegated from the Bundesliga. As a reminder, they were a founding member of the Bundesliga in 1963, and they'd survived in Germany's top flight all the way until the 95-96 season. Obviously, a tragic end to the season, but oh no, because merely, a week or two, it wasn't long, was it, after they'd end up winning the DFB Pokal for the second time, as I mentioned. Now, the following season, despite that Pokal win, they were of course in the Zweite Bundesliga. They would get promoted straight back up. And then we all know what they did the season after. The only team in German football history, or Bundesliga history, to win the Bundesliga as a newly promoted club. They, of course, shocked the world. They started the season in style. They went to Bayern. They went to their old stadium, the Stadion. They won 1-0. They do the double over Bayern in the league. And, of course, win the Bundesliga. Their crowning achievement. I think most Kaiserslautern fans think fondly of all their Bundesliga wins, but that one in 98, after the tough times of relegation, nobody, I mean everyone here speaks about Leicester City, the fearless Foxes, people speak about Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest winning the European Cup 2 seasons in a row, and don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying any of those achievements, but I don't think enough people, over here anyway, really speak about what an achievement Otto Rehhagel, I think that was his name, the manager, and of course the players did that year. As a reminder as well, the manager, Otto, would go and win the Euros with Greece in 2004. Like most German clubs, their early history consists of merger after merger, but the club officially recognises its founding date as 1900. Nickname is of course the Roten Teufel, the Red Devils, and as I mentioned in the last video, I struggled to identify a Kaiserslautern specific beer to drink on match day. I guess a lot of the local breweries have closed over the years, so I went with Carlsberg Urpils, which I believe is based around 30 minutes away from K-Town. So on the channel, we always rate the beer, and yeah, I enjoyed the ones I tasted. A fairly safe taste, not as strong as our Bochum beer Figa, but thoroughly enjoyable. So looking at last week's Bundesliga table, I'd probably put it somewhere mid-table, maybe between Stuttgart's Hofbrau Pilsener and the Paderborner Pilger. Pilger, not Pilsener. You know my thoughts on the Paderborner Pilsner. Oh, and yes, Feuerwurst was a spicy delight. A very nice stadium sausage.
What beer is this? Let's just try. Beer is okay. Feuerwurst.
Good Feuerwurst.
Yeah, good. Spicy.
Okay then guys, let's just summarise my thoughts, my opinions on the Kaiserslautern fans, for example. A lot of people come up to me and say, what were the best fans you ever experienced, other than Bochum, of course. It's always tricky as an away fan, because of course normally you're with your own ultras, normally you're the opposite end of the home fans, the home ultras should I say, and you could visually see on screen right now, very, very active. Whole of the one side had the scarves up and then the other side would. Really, really cool. We've seen some of the awesome tifos and displays Kaiserslautern fans and particularly the ultras have done over more recent times. Really, really good fan base. But again, I mean, apart from the fact they were really nice, I can't say too much. There were a few empty seats. At the end of the day, it's second division football, and as I said, it's only 101,000 population. But with that said, oh my god, what a stadium, what a bloody stadium. It's like, I say this all the time, but it's like the Ruhrstadion on steroids. It's grand, it's somewhat old and rugged, but it's also incredibly classy at the same time, with a great fan base, as I mentioned. Yeah, I'm really in love with the BETZE. Fantastic, really is fantastic. We mentioned Otto Rehagal, just a reminder, the guy who won the Euros of Greece is also, or was also the manager, of course, on the cup. Where's the bloody cup? With the trophy. We will be back, I'm sure of it. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Of course, I've got to try and pick a game that I'm not going to be taking a ticket away from a normal fan, of course. Pick more of a low-key game where, as I said, there was the odd seat free. It'd be nice to fully immerse ourselves into some of the Kaiserslautern fan culture next time we go. But it's enjoyable as an away fan. Again, it wasn't enjoyable losing, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit sick of losing. As a reminder, we've lost the first, is it 7 out of 8 games? We've lost every single away game, and of course I've got the away season tickets. It's not been ideal from a Bochum perspective, but putting all that to one side, we couldn't access the fan shop, by the way. I did try to access the fan shop both before and after the game, but you had to go through security in the home area, so they wouldn't let me through with my Bochum stuff on. So if anyone wants to send anything out to Football Paradise HQ, of course, as I mentioned, we've got the cup on display, but maybe, as I said, we'll go back and we'll get a scarf. You can see they do have a bit of a Freundschaft with Stuttgart, and if you are new to the channel, Kaiserslautern fans, we've done recent videos on VfB Stuttgart, so check those out. And of course, stay tuned for future content. We're going to be next in Kiel, flying to Hamburg. It's going to be messy, it's going to be chaotic, it's going to be typical Football Paradise, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Ladies and gents, Danke schön, and auf wieder bloody sehen.